and for all.
Welcome live. We are live right now, and I hope people are watching. And if you are watching, let's continue. We had a really serious technical difficulties just a little while ago. I don't know why our signals is not getting um, to the people that needed it, but somehow it's not. And Dr. Thaj, can you get it on your side?
Wanted to see where is it on? Okay, yeah,
Yeah, it is on the same.
yes.
Okay, I think people are on now. Well, anyway, as you are coming in, I want to apologize for the technical difficulties we are having. It is something that seems to be ongoing, but hey, we will get to the bottom of it, and we will be doing it live every single Wednesday at 9 a.m. No, at 9 p.m. rather. We actually finished our topic about the celebration of life of our brother Stephen Shandak, who passed away last month, and we segue to politics. And the politics, our topic tonight, goes back to the referendum of the then Southern Sudan. What we are seeing here was one of the referendum site I went to, interview a number of people, and I want you to listen to what they said. And I hope some of them could be watching the show because I want to reach out to them. I need to hear from them. Enjoy. This particular site right here is one of the referendum site of Southern Sudan by then for Southern Sudan for the people in the United States in diaspora here. Those who live in the east
Okay,
are allowed to
start
vote
you with your
and
first
listen
name
to us.
first.
Okay.
Tell us what's your name and tell us where you stay.
Okay, my name is Bona Gabriel Pai, and I stay in Baltimore, Maryland. So I drove about an hour to come here and register today.
Can you tell me what you've just done today? Why did you? I have seen you. Your hand is you kind of hurt yourself or something, and you still wanted to come and vote today. Tell us what the significance of it.
This referendum is very important. It means a lot of things for us as Southern Sudanese. Not as much for me, but I want to cast my vote for my brothers and sisters that are back in Southern Sudan, so that a small kid that is 10 years old doesn't have to carry AK-47 and go and fight. Instead, they can be sitting in a classroom, so that people cannot be dying of malaria disease. Instead, we could have scientific discoveries in Southern Sudan and facilities that will produce drugs, to fight those infectious disease, so that we can raise Southern Sudan to an international level, so that we don't have to live in diaspora anymore. So that's pretty much why I came here to register today, so I can be able to cast my vote.
So, how long you been to United States?
I came to United States back in May 2001, so I've been here for almost 10 years, but it's 9 plus.
And when you cast your vote, what are you going to vote for when the real vote? I mean, when you register today, when the real voting comes,
Yeah,
it will be in January, and this place will be pretty colder than here, than right now. So, will you be able to make it to voting here?
well, it doesn't matter even if it snows 50 inches. I'll still make it here to vote. If I know it's going to snow tomorrow, I'll come and rent a hotel and stay here and vote, because this vote is very, very, very important to me. As a citizen of Southern Sudan, I want to see a new nation being born. So definitely my vote is going to be for an independent Southern Sudan.
Where are you from in South Sudan?
I'm from Wau,
You're
Bar al
from
Ghazal.
Barakazal.
Yeah, I was born and raised in Wau. I moved to Khartoum, and from Khartoum I moved to Cairo, and then from Cairo I came to United States.
Can you tell me one thing that actually touched your soul, that hurt you, that made you vote for independence of South Sudan? Something that touched your soul.
Well, I think our dignity as the people of Southern Sudan has been violated for a long period of time. and we felt like we are second-class citizens in Sudan. So I think having an independent Southern Sudan is pretty much something that I'll be proud of. So I can have a place to call home, have a place to call country, have a place where I can go visit in the summer, have an opportunity to spend time with my brothers and sisters. Pretty much because of the war in Southern Sudan, I have my family scattered all around the world, in Australia, in Europe, in Canada, here in the United States. Uh, some cousins that I've never met before because of the war. So it's definitely an opportunity for me to reunite with my family, and also to to make sure that the people in Southern Sudan get get an education and the country raised to an international level.
So now you've been here for more than 9 years or 9 years plus, and you will be voting for independence of South Sudan. Does that mean you are planning to go back to Southern Sudan?
Pretty much, I could go to Southern Sudan. I'm still here. I'm going to be going to professional schools. I have a bachelor's degree in biology from University of Maryland. But pretty much, I want to be able to use the education that I get so that Southern Sudan can benefit from it, because it's only the people in diaspora that have gotten the educations that will be able to lift Southern Sudan to an international level. So until we go back and contribute to the rebuilding to the building of Southern Sudan, that country pretty much need us. There's no way. We have to go back. We have to help, whether we are staying here or we are going back. But we have to contribute in one way or the other.
What can you tell someone in Sudan who is susceptible to being bribed by someone who doesn't want independence of Southern Sudan? What can you tell that person to actually stay real?
Well, that money that you're getting, or a house or a car or whatever you're getting, is not worth your dignity. It's important, your country first. You put your country first and your dignity first before you put money or anything else. So that money that you're getting today will be lost tomorrow. But the country that you're getting will benefit not only you, your children, and your grandchildren. And it's important to have that.
Now, if South Sudan become independent, what type of government in South Sudan would you like to see?
We like to see democracy. We like to see like the Bill of Rights, like what we have here in the United States, implemented in Southern Sudan. We like to copy all the best things from the Western world and from other countries in the Eastern world to back to Southern Sudan. We want people to have freedom, and that's why we've been fighting for freedom. So once we have freedom, we would like to have democracy in the country.
Well, thank you very much. It's my pleasure to talk to you.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Bye-bye.
Wow.
That was a great interview, Ambassador. The guy shared the hope of so many Southern Sudanese. That's exactly the kind of South Sudan that we all wanted. That was the country that we were dreaming for, we were fighting for, we were advocating for, and voted for. I don't know whether that is the country we have today, and I'm not sure what this guy is feeling. I think that's a Dutch feeling that number of us are going are having. The aspirations, the hope, the enthusiasm, everything that we had in mind is not what we see, and I don't know, I don't know, I don't know what we could say now if that time began again.
Well, one of the important things I decided to, revisit is to talk about where we are today.
Right.
And these gentlemen couldn't be more right when I asked him of what type of government,
Yep.
if you voted for the Republic of South Sudan. And rightly so, he did say that he needed democracy in South Sudan. He needed democracy in South Sudan. And of course, we know, as we speak today, that's not what turned out to be. And the question here, and I hope this gentleman will be able to see that, we want to revisit that interview all over again. But to you, Dr. Taj, and the rest of the viewers, what went wrong in your perspective?
I think a number of things went wrong. First, people of South Sudan, after the death of John Grant, uh, began to think, yes, we're still going to vote for the independent South Sudan. We're still going to have a nation that we want. We will have a country, and we will be able to address the need of the South Sudanese to come to some extent, so that they would be like any other people in the country. I think after people got to that level, then the lack of leadership and the lack of infrastructure, the institutional challenge that the country has, and the willingness for people to corrupt and create and involve in crime that are significant without being fearing for the laws or for what it meant to have a nation. And in fact, the lack of vision, and not only from the leadership but also within the country, the citizens, that everyone hopes that the government will only be the only venue for people to get rich and get rich quick and grab whatever they could get their hand on so that they can support themselves and their family. I think the compounding of all this factor brought us to where we are today. Then had the leadership been strategic, had the leadership been prioritizing on issues that are so significant, I think things could have been a little bit different. Even though South Sudan is nowhere to be compared with other developing nations, other developing countries within the developing countries. For example, Sudan had a system in place. There was no system in South Sudan. And the people of South Sudan did not fix one system to follow. They did not want to follow Sudan and did not want to model the Sudanese system, or invited the people who had some experience and some technical know-how in Sudan to come and implement the administrative duties that were needed in South Sudan. They wanted to grab some stuff from Kenya, and then from the other part of East Africa, I believe from Kenya, and then Uganda and some other East African nations, without looking forward for what they needed to do to start the framework of what kind of a system that needed to be in place and what kind of a program needed to be prioritized and how to go about prioritizing the program. I think had they begun by looking at what are the things that needed to be done first. Number one, how can you empower nation when pretty much 80% of the people are illiterate? What are the programs that they need in order for them to develop themselves and to focus the direction, not only depending on government that does not have enough, but also focusing on how they can actually better themselves? I think it would have been different. So all these things that the government did not find a way to address, or had a way to address, or failed to address, had brought the South Sudan to zero extent. And I think
We
that's
will
hope
we will
like
we
that
will dwell
become
we will
more
dwell on
different.
that. I have one of the youth who has to come in and want to wait in also as well. Our brother Both Chol, who is
Okay.
very well aware of what's happening in South Sudan. I want his voice as well,
Okay.
and I want our viewers to welcome brothers. Both, welcome to the show.
Thank you so much, honorables. I'm honored to be with you and Dr. Galwak. You are some of the people that I admire and my mentors and I look to. So I'm honored to be here. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Thank
Did
you,
you
boss.
watch my interview
Elbow.
Did you watch my interview?
Yeah, I do watch them all the
No, I'm
time.
talking about the referendum part I just played because I want you to wait in on that.
Okay, I think yeah, maybe I can do that. Just joining.
Okay, let me take us to the next questionnaires, and we will talk about it
Mm-hmm.
already.
Have you just voted today?
Yes, I did.
Okay, please come forward and
Okay.
step here. I want to make sure that.
Okay.
Okay, good. Get closer. Get closer. There you go.
Okay.
Okay. I'm just going to ask you a simple question.
Okay.
Tell me when you're actually going through registration today,
Right.
what was going through your mind? But tell me your name first.
My name is Christine Mande Gedima. From Meridi County, Western Equatoria, Southern Sudan. I just registered, and what was going in my mind was all the things that happened in the past, and that I've finally arrived to this moment. In my mind, this is a defining moment for me and for all of us and for the whole of Southern Sudan. And so this is an opportunity that I really took as a prayer come true. I didn't take it lightly, but this is a moment that we've all been waiting for. And for all my brothers and sisters who are out there, I'm asking all of you to mobilize and come out in big numbers. This is the only moment we have in our history. And if we don't take this opportunity, it will never come again.
Speaking of the mining movement, that meant you are deciding for separation of the country. And if that's the case, can you tell me what actually made you decide that?
Yes, my defining moment is actually deciding for the separation of the country. And what made me come to that decision is just looking to my past, looking to our history, looking to all the things we've gone through, the pain, the suffering.
All right, you heard it all. It was during the referendum about good 11 years ago,
Mm-hmm.
if not more so. And that was a country that every South Sudanese was anticipating for. What can you say now?
It just bring a lot of memory to me, to be honest, because I remember someone who have not fought for the South Sudan's, who have not held guns, who have not done anything to contribute to the war of liberation, but find himself living out of the country for safety. So having an opportunity in 2011 to be part of the people to decide the future of South Sudan was something I've never experienced in my life. And so taking us back to some of these memorable events that you personally captured through your career, they are so profound in a way that they bring back memory considering the situation we are in today as a people of South Sudan. It brings tear to eye to see what people have, hoped, believe in, and they were finally aware of that they have now freedom, and here we are today, exactly opposite to what we hoped for. It's heartbreaking. Are you there, Honorable?
Oh,
We have some internet issues, I think so.
He has some technical issues. I think this is
Yeah.
it.
Mm. Mm.
yes. You guys realize I did have some technical issues, and these technical issues happened to my little one.
Mm-hmm.
She attacked me while I'm live on Facebook. That's okay. And she's just so beautiful. Wanted to also be part of the show, but I
Mm.
tell her that you wait a little bit. Dr. Thite, I want you to pick it up from there. Um, um, our my interview with this young lady show us how we really anticipate to see our own country, that is South Sudan. Apart from blaming left and right, what really, and if any of you can wade in, what could we done better had we had a chance?
Well, well, thank you. What we could have done better, we could have addressed program. We could have addressed the need of our people. One of the success of any institution is to look for the need of your people and tackle the need. Because if you address the need of the people, you brought program to the people, then you have a meaning of what you're trying to do strategically. Having a nation is not by name or land. It is what you do with that land and the people in that land. I think when we were talking about having a South Sudan, we were talking about a freedom, access to resources, access to opportunity, addressing the opportunity that people need, and creating program or opening door for people to create program for themselves. There are basic programs that South Sudan, with the resources that it has, should have had that role to play. And I think by addressing those, we should have been able to do this. Number one, people of South Sudan need to be democratic. They need to have rights and they need to exercise their right. And that was one of the reasons that they had an independent South Sudan for. They also needed to make sure that they are giving freedom to exercise their right within the country by doing things for themselves. But the government that has the opportunity to to safeguard and also to uphold the resources that the country has should address the need that people have. One of whom would be, I mean, with more than 80% of the people having no access to the education, providing some technical.
I want brother Elbow to wait in. Where were you at that time? Can you tell me? And what were you doing?
Me,
Yes.
I was in school. I was in my last year, 2011. I had to skip uh, my preparation for high school examination, all the way traveling to from where I was boarding school, then come to board. So it took me. I remember going to line at 1 p.m. in the morning, and I had to board at 3 p.m. in the evening. That was in
Wow.
Kenya, Nairobi.
Wow. That is very intense. Now, what I want us and also our viewers so that they can follow us better is I'm trying to bring the contrast, the country that we wish to have and the country we have now. And what could we do then? But now, as we speak, we have divided ourselves. We have a peace that is happening in South Sudan. It might not be happening the way that everyone wants here. Should we better implement peace and not go back to war?
Uh,
Elbow,
I
go
don't,
ahead.
I don't know if I will pick up from Dr. Side, because my approach toward this peace is quite contagious, because I'm one of the victims of South Sudan civil war, someone who lost home, someone who have no future right now in South Sudan without proper arrangement of the security. So this is a very good question, and I feel like it's an opportunity for me to answer, and then we will also hear from Dr. Tai. It's not about going back to war. is about fighting for justice. This is the history of human being. This is the history of humanity. The good has to implement the good and to push out the wrong. And this peace agreement is not good because it left 80% of South Sudanese deplorable. They not feel safe. Okay. For instance, the victim of South Sudan civil war, they are not safe through this peace agreement. So if this peace agreement only enrich a very tiny majority, a very tiny minority, it's not peace, because peace has to be with the civil population. So this peace agreement actually does not secure the future and the security of the victim of South Sudan civil war. It's a
But
really very bad
if
peace.
I can, Brother Elbow, if I can wait on that, and I respect your point that this peace does not apply to every soul in South Sudan, but you got to start somewhere in order to get somewhere.
Mm-hmm.
What type of peace that can enrich everybody instantly? That's one. Two, the history is repeating itself here. And I'm not saying that this piece is the best that there is, but it's where we can start. If you think that this piece is not the right piece for everybody, I respect that, like I told you earlier. But what piece do you think, apart from
Uh,
killing
uh,
each other?
yeah, a peace that give the victim the power to say something, then overlooking, the grievances and feeling that they are being powerless. For instance, the opposition represented what I would call the hope of the people of South Sudan. So when you see this hope going to table without power, is actually very traumatic, and that's
Can
what
you
made
expand
this.
more?
Mm.
How does it go to the table without power? What power are you talking about?
Well, the security arrangement is the entire root of the peace agreement. And so if the security arrangement does not favor the opposition, there's no peace in the first place. And this peace agreement, the security arrangement does not favor the opposition.
Well, this peace agreement was signed, I think, in September. If I remember, my book is on the 18th, right? And it's about to come to an end. We understand that. And peace is about implementing it. It just doesn't come overnight. We had North South Sudan peace, and you know that very well. Maybe
Mhm.
vividly because you were much younger by then. Not every, and I'm not saying that we should follow what happened with the North Sudan, South Sudan peace, but there was so many times that South Sudan and North Sudan goes to war. South Sudan fight itself. There was so many times where even peace almost collapsed, but we hang on until the end. Why not now? Why do you only see the negative part of what we are doing now and not see the positive part of it?
Uh, can Dr. Tice come a little bit?
Can I
I
weigh
will have
in?
to wait.
Yeah, let me weigh into this. I think what elbow is stealing, but is stealing is if you're looking into the greater context, is that a peace is always a win-win for any settlement to be made possible. So when the peace agreement was signed in September of 2018,
Mhm.
there were provisions,
Yep.
one of whom was the security arrangement, the
Mhm.
significant part of it. The security arrangement gave both party or all the parties involved in the peace process an assurance that if it is implemented, the accountability,
Mhm.
the other aspects will be addressed because the confidence will be revealed. Because the people have killed themselves. People lost their life. They live, and then the victim who have lost their life for them to feel that now they can be they can be protected, there has to be something that makes them feel, yes, it is really, this is the peace that will protect me, and what had happened to me would not repeat itself. So the security aspect was major part of this peace agreement. Now, when we're talking about all the other, some segment of within the peace has been implemented, and then why should we wait? Well, how long have we waited? Now, we are to the end of it after 3 years. So I think next week, the 18th or 20th, will be the end of this. Uh, so it will be, the peace will expire. And now there have to be some extension. I believe there will be an extension, and the extension will probably going to be about a month, or maybe about few months,
Yeah,
maybe a year. So
yeah.
what is it that
But
will be done in
Dr.
that
Faj,
few months
Dr. Faj,
that has not
I
been done in 3 years?
let dissect a little bit of
Yeah.
the gray area of what you are talking about. Okay, if you say that you cannot wait any longer, I want you both also to wait on this. Okay, if you say that you cannot wait any longer, are you telling us to go back to war?
Now, let me say this. I want us to be not misunderstood of what we are saying. I don't think any of us in the Western world will call for the war that we will not be fighting. Okay, we're not in South Sudan to fight the war. Why would we call for the war?
So if you
I
were
think
there, you would
what
do
we
that.
are saying is we are tiring of war. We have been tired of the war. We do not want war. That's why we both, I think all of us.
And if you don't want war, why don't we stick to the peace that is
we
collapsing
Well,
so that
there's no
we
peace.
discuss and make it
we
better?
There,
cannot be.
there's no peace right
Go
now.
go ahead, Elmo. Go ahead.
Yeah, the match make the right. The government is consolidating power and immersing the opposition. So when we talk about giving peace a chance, it's not a problem. It's like when we come to make peace, to give peace a chance, we have to be in a position where we have the power. And this peace agreement does not give us that capacity to talk and to say things and to implement our ideas. Because even in the parliament, 60% of the member of parliament, they are SPLM mainstream. That is directly supportive of Salva Kiir, the president of South Sudan. This does not give the SPLMI, which we are hoping, insisting to implement peace, a capacity to implement ideas and make the reform they are asking workable. Because even through democratic process in the parliament, right now we are hearing that the new parliament is going to endorse the president for 6 more years. And if the opposition oppose that, they will go to ballot within the parliament, and the SPLM mainstream gonna win. That is not the peace we're talking about here.
But the point here is this. I understand all the concern that you have, right? But if you guys are different now on your position to what is happening in Juba, both your points seem to direct me to think that it's not about the peace not being implemented. It's about the agreement that was signed in Juba. I mean, in Khartoum and Addis Ababa. That is wrong. Is that what I'm hearing?
That's exactly what I'm talking about.
So it's not about the not being implemented now. But it doesn't matter how we implement the peace. You still think that this is not the peace you want.
It is the same route. It is the same route. What I've come to understand is that it's not the fact that we wanted to implement the peace agreement based on what is in the paper. It's the fact that we just saying it is over. Let's just go on.
Well,
And there's a lot of
and
taking in this.
yeah, but my point here is we've been saying that okay, we don't want to go back to war, and we also want the right peace that we have. You say that the opposition do not have power, right? Let's talk about power now. Everyone in South Sudan, every soul in South Sudan want peace. Is that true?
Yeah, but there's no peace. That's the problem
Yeah,
because there's
but
still
they
war
want peace, right?
yeah.
Everyone want peace. If that's so, and the SPLM IO comes or the opposition comes with the partial power that you might say that is a partial power, right? It's giving it to the people of South Sudan to make decision. Because when we went to war, not everybody went to bush and start fighting. Some people who are even supporter of opposition remain in Juba. We know that. And that's not what we can put our hope on. The point here is, if we are in 21st century and we know who is actually destroying the country, right? Why do we abrogate a peace that is getting to more than 50% now better, and opt for something that we will never know? And not everyone in South Sudan that want war. So if the problem is with actually IG, quote unquote, I think is with the IG, why not everybody that is a South Sudanese, regardless whether you are in opposition or not, why we not coming together and get the peace we want?
The problem is this: the enemies who is in power, who have committed atrocities, who believe that he's still fighting enemies, is not making that work. And this is where the problem is. Because what I mean is this: the government is overseeing the opposition coming to Juba as people who have no options, but coming in through the pretext of implementing peace. And this is where the crisis is. So when your enemy sees you this way, it's not only that you're not coming now to work with him, but coming under him and he can get rid of you at any capacity. That is not only through war, but through sabotage, political ideologies. And that's the problem. And that make this peace, this security arrangement a very risky business. And I also agree with Dr. Said as where he mentioned that if I feel I'm not safe, I think it's the other interview you had before in the previous, I was going through it. And he said that if we feel the leader is holding on to his argument, and then the decision the leader is making are not benefiting him or is putting their life at risk, it is part of the history for someone to back away. And that's what we're talking about here. This peace agreement may benefit a little bit elites, or very few of them, but does not secure the population or the majority of South Sudanese. It doesn't bring them back home.
Dr. Tait, let's talk about the people in the parliament. We have a parliament now, whether parliament that someone recognize or not. To me, it's the parliament that we really need to pay attention to. Not everyone that joined oppositions, and I'm sure you, both of you, have relatives that remain in Juba, right? They are part of the IG, and a number of them are in the parliament now. We're speaking of South Sudan having insecurity every day. We're speaking of South Sudan that has no democracy. Have you ever talked to any one of them to tell you the truth of whether they want democracy or not? Anybody can pick up.
No, I have friends. I have friends in the parliament. I have colleagues, former colleagues in the parliament.
Mm-hmm.
The new parliament, the one that took the seat a few days ago. But I don't have a family member in the parliament. I have community member in the parliament. But you know, this is the thing. If for any reason that this parliament meant to, I read the speech of the president, and I would tell you I was disappointed, because some of the thing that most of the thing that he had in the document are not responsibility that could be undertaken by the parliament. What is the role of the parliament? If the parliament, if things that are administrative are to be handled by the parliament, which actually will not be able to do, because they will actually send them back to the administrative. What is the use of the parliament? There are wonderful people. Like I say, there's a lot of good South Sudanese in the parliament, but will they be able to do anything? I don't think so.
Yes.
What power do they have? You know, what is the mandate?
Well,
so I don't think that parliament.
Here. What I'm trying to
it's getting hot. The discussion is really great.
what I'm trying to lead you here is that we, those who have picked up arms and become opposition to the government, has a responsibility to bring peace, not just peace, to bring democracy to the country.
Right.
But now, our brothers and sisters who are part of the government by then do also need peace in the country. But here is the point, and I want you, brother, both to weigh in this. You told me that they cannot do anything.
Yep.
They have the right of voting. Why?
What did you say? Come again?
They have a right of voting for any for any proposition that fits their
And
constituency.
and this is the danger. This is the danger of democracy, because when a tiny when a majority that are wrong rotating the politics of the country, we are in a great danger. Because let's say 40% they are opposition, and within this 40%, a very 15% or 20% they are what we call SPLM-IO. Okay, do you think they can insect change in that, even if through voting, even if they have right? Because the card Salva Kiir is going to use right now is to tell people to vote a bill into parliament. That bill, even if it say we're reducing the power of first by a president or whoever, we're going to put it on table and vote for it. And that's a problem then, because at the end of the day, the people, majority who are going to vote, they're going to vote against their SPLM-IO, and which is the problem with democracy here.
And can you explain who are the majority and
The majority are
describe
the
them?
SPLM, they are the support of Salva Kiir Mayardit in the
And
parliament.
they are, some of them are your relative, right?
Yes, this is 60% of the.
They choose not to follow the right way. They choose to live in a country where dictator is the one that call the day. Is that what you're telling me?
Yes, because the speaker of the parliament will be the one in charge of counting the vote tomorrow, and they have the capacity to say 80% have voted for the SPLM mainstream, and we cannot say anything. So this is the problem now. Like for me, I always say South Sudan is not fit for democracy. We need a egalitarian system of governance backed up by technocratism, because yes, because now egalitarianism will help us to govern ourselves in villages and even in estates. Okay, and whatever the central government bring together will have no capacity whatsoever to affect people on the ground. And this is our way of life as the people of South Sudan. Okay, you will have your own farm and you will dictate the way you do your farming, right? So and technocratic people like you who are highly educated, like Dr. Stai, when they come in with their expertise into the system, because they are egalitarian in nature, they won't victimize me, because their way of life give me capacity to breathe. And when South Sudan copies this democracy from the West, Kiir is going to use it to beat down the people who are supposed to build that nation.
I understand that can come, but my point here, brother, both, is that let's give the responsibility to each and every one of us, right?
Mm-hmm.
And let me cut it in a completely different way here. If we agree that this peace is not going to go forward, if we agree that it's not going to get us anywhere, what is the next steps for us or for someone like you? I'm not saying that I have nowhere to go, because I still believe this peace we can manage it. But to you, if we cannot manage it through the people that are majority and do not want democracy, whichever way that will come is better. But what is your way?
I would want to hear from Dr. Stai.
Go ahead, Dr. Taj.
I would tell you that the change that people need when they have a need for that change, they do not always give up just because they did not get what they want in a certain time. You might look back to the story from the Gandhi to Nelson Mandela to Martin Luther King, to several people advocating for the change, and even to the story of South Sudan. If people do not get what they think represent them, they don't just give in and say, my hand up and I'll just be whoever the dictator want me to be. They don't do that. Whether they will address injustice by 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 whatever means possible for them, they all have uh, this this opportunities. They can decide it, what needed to be done. Now, I think what we all need to agree is that no one want war in South Sudan. We want peace. But if we do not have peace, if we do not have peace in South Sudan, what do? We ask for peace. But if that peace didn't come, people will not just say, I'm just going to sit idly
So we
and not advocate for
we
the
opt
country.
for war.
Yeah, well, the offer for war might not be what we, the people in the West, will advocate. It is something that we will look for all the alternatives. There's always a lot of alternatives. I remember reading an article about Nelson Mandela at one point, when Nelson Mandela was in a prison, and then the West went to him, in addition to the apartheid, and wanted him to sign an agreement. And that agreement really tied him to come out, sit in Johannesburg, not doing anything, but get whatever he needed to get. Or otherwise, if he doesn't want that, he will be in prison forever. What did Nelson Mandela choose? He said, no, I'm not going to sign in prison. I'm not going to sign an agreement that when I'm not free when I'm not free. I will rather die and live in prison. And then somebody else is going to take it after me. So that, I think he never signed it until when he was free, he became an advocate and continued and got the peace that South Africa is enjoying today. I think South Sudan will have peace. Whether it will come in time of the current leadership or after the current leadership, there will be peace that will bring all South Sudanese together. We don't have this now in South Sudan. And we cannot give up.
How do you get that peace? We are coming to the last part of our show, but I want to go to break for a second. We will come to that point. Hold your point. Don't go away.
We've gone through the injustices we've gone through. And so no one would convince me otherwise. This is the moment for me. I've made my mind. There's no looking back. I'm just going forward for separation.
How long have you been to the United States?
I've been here for 11 years.
You've been here for 11 years?
Yes.
Have you ever been back to Sudan?
Yes, I was in Southern Sudan last year.
Okay.
And
what was your impression when you were there?
I was very happy to see people going back and to see some of the many developments happening, but we would like to see more happen in Southern Sudan.
Well, you know, in Southern Sudan, as you've been there a year ago, it does need people with education.
Right.
And I can see that you're someone that's fairly good, that can do something.
Right.
Why are you still here?
I'm still here because I'm going to school and as soon as I'm finished, I'm going to go back. And actually, the reason why I went to Southern Sudan was to implement a project that I just started, an educational project. And so that's one of the reasons that some of us are still here, so that we can get some of the resources here and take it back home. Take the skills that we've acquired in this country and take it back home.
What's the name of that project?
Career Project Voice.
And what's that doing?
It's to help girl child education. We actually just raised money 2 weeks ago to support children to go to school. And so our target is actually to begin mobilizing girls to go to school, to stay in school, and to be involved in community activities so that they begin to acquire leadership skills. So that's the purpose of that project.
Where do you live in the United States?
I live in Baltimore, Maryland.
Baltimore, Maryland.
Yes.
If I can ask you, in the country that you are wishing to be an independent country next year, what type of South Sudan are you looking for? Government, in terms of financials, and also in terms of development. What type of a country you are looking for?
First of all, I'm looking for a country that is free and fair, a democratic country, a country that is supported by the people, a country that gives freedom of speech to its people, and a country that's strong financially. If we are not strong financially, then we are going to rely on other countries. And I think we have all the resources in Southern Sudan. And so we must begin on our own resources so that we are economically strong as a nation.
Well, thank you very much. It's my pleasure to talk to you.
Thank you so much. It was my pleasure too.
Thank you.
All right, welcome to South Sudan today. My name is Miyonkont. I'm your host. Someone is actually calling. I don't know why, but I can't get to that. Let's pick up from there. Every person that I interviewed, my last question was about what type of government that you're looking for, and you have exhausted already. But let's go to our point earlier because we are running out of time now. Any of you can pick it up from here. You did say that we need a better peace agreement that allows everybody, and we do not need to go back to war, and we do not have the peace that we want. Tell me, how are we going to get out of this? Anybody? Any of you?
Well, let me say what I think.
Go ahead.
If and I've been saying this since we started talking about this issue. I still believe through peace, South Sudanese can come together. But but only if the leadership in Juba change their strategy of approaching the peace. I think the leadership in Juba, and I actually start to call them the Taliban regime in Juba. You know,
I read that today. I read it.
So if they care for people, and if they care for the nation in which most of whom fought for, they should start to think of their ways of doing things now in Juba. And they can actually be able to bring peace. I agree with Elvo. One of the only component in that peace signed in Juba, in Sudan, in September of 2018, the only aspect of it that I felt okay with was the security arrangement. But the security aspect of it gave me a hope that maybe there could be tomorrow's South Sudan if, for any reason, that this security aspect is implemented. Then people of South Sudan may also go to the election, and maybe they will create a government that will make sense. A government of which South Sudanese vote for, a government in which South Sudanese made it accountable. That is not the appointing government of the purely well, I don't want to get into this, but that could be that. But that's not what we are seeing. If the only aspect of it is not seriously implemented, then there is a challenge for us to move forward with the peace. Maybe the leaders that are there are not willing to bring peace to the people of South Sudan in their lifetime. And if that's so, then what do we do? I don't know.
Yeah, I want to wait on what you just said, Dr. Taj. And I want to take up this show, by the way, is one of the most intellectual show that I ever gone through. This is a great one. It's a great discussion for the people of South Sudan. So I have 3 points I want to take up. The South Sudan government right now, despite whoever come in, has no mental capacity to meet our challenge. It doesn't have, because the entire system has been built on the idea of taking resources outside the country to the neighboring. And if you see 80% of the South Sudanese officials, they have their home outside South Sudan. This kind of system cannot sustain South Sudanese in the prevailing global challenges that 21st century are facing. And so when it comes to peace agreement, as we talk right now, we're going to fight. It doesn't mean you need to use a gun. We're going to talk. We're going to tell the world this peace does not favor us, and this is one way we can fight for. Okay, if the word fighting have to be branded, we have to brand it through talking. We have to fight through talking, and we're going to have people. Because I believe this: when you are fighting for a just cause, it doesn't matter which kind of tool are you using. It doesn't matter.
Yeah.
And so I believe that.
And let me
Hmm?
wait on here. I love that part. If you know that it doesn't need, I mean, fighting for it for a just cause, doesn't matter what type of tool you're using, in the way you put it. Isn't the better way for us to fight within as opposition, in spite the fact that the opposition might be minority?
The most difficult part of this interview is that you cropped out your question so intelligently, like, and you are pushing us into a corner by bringing the word if we refuse peace.
No,
We-
I didn't say, I didn't say that.
you didn't say it, but it seemed like this is the idea you are pushing us to, and this is so difficult, right? But I want to say this so clear to the people of South Sudan that uh, the choice that General Garwech has taken by calling for secure arrangement is much better, because if we have to come to table as brother and sister, it's much better we have something to bring to table. Okay, because whether we like it or not, the man in power does not is not yet believe in the peace that we are pushing forward, and I really appreciate the fact that Dr. Riek Machar, which is pushing for this peace to the fact that it's going to Juba. But one thing him and others don't understand is that simply because it favors them, it doesn't favor others. And if it favor just 2%, you
Brother
should back
Bro,
up because you
brother,
represent the
how
spirit of the people.
how did it favor, when you say them? How did it favor them?
Okay, let's
Let's
say
speak of Dr. Riek
let
Machar here. Dr. Riek Machar
okay
is the most wanted by the government.
no for now
And
no.
how did it favor him?
Okay, let me just say that there are people already in the enemies. They haven't come outside. This peace does not favor them. But Machari is being run around with Syrian, big car, and being protected. What does this tell us? It means this peace is only good for him and few other people. So when we have this peace like that, it means it's not good for the population.
Listen, when we were implementing the CPA, right? Was Dr. Riek Machar and Salva Kiir was walking on the street
The
without?
secure arrangement of peace CPA give us autonomies. It
Yeah,
gives the South Sudan
but the people remained in camps.
in their territory.
Yes,
They remain in their territory,
yes, but
and they were not in Khartoum, but they were in
yes,
South
they
Sudan
were in
in
Khartoum.
Juba
Do you want me
with their
to
brothers
give
and
you my
sisters.
interview in Khartoum? They were in Khartoum. We had to go to Khartoum to convince them that come home. I'm
Well,
not saying that is peace.
let me get into this.
Go ahead.
Let me get to this, and I want you to look at the logic of what Elbo was saying when he say that this peace favorite Dr. Riek. We have to be honest here. And not only just it favored Dr. Riek in a sense, it might not be what Dr. Riek wants, but Dr. Riek, even within where he is, there are people who are less than 5 miles away from where he is that are not coming in to Juba because they're fearing their life. And these people are displaced in 2013 because of what happened. If this peace was not against them, if it is addressing their need, why would they like to stay there?
Can I explain to you?
So before you explain this to me, I want you to look into this logic that people are not fearing for sake of fearing. They're fearing because they have lost life. They have lost relative life, or they have lost relatives who lost their life. They are not sure of what would happen if they are not getting that protection. And even as we speak, there are people who cannot even walk in some areas within Juba.
Before
These
you
belong
come
to
in,
other kinds of people.
before you come in, brother
Yes.
Miyong, let me also wait on Dr. Staj. I cannot go back to Juba right now unless I'm going to a hotel, because my home has been taken, and there are no guarantee of justice that give me that home. Not only that, uh, we're talking about a population of South Sudanese that have lost their common home, simply because there is nothing there to turn them there. So if this peace was to be good for us, uh, even back home, wherever, it was not even the capital city of South Sudan, outside, hundreds of miles away from capital city, people are still afraid of for their life. It's
Brother, both. Let me start from the end to go back. Right. I'm not trying to be hard-headed here. I understand the implication of this peace agreement. I understand the risk. I understand the hardship that our people are going through. But listen, we got to start somewhere to get somewhere, right?
I agree.
And what I'm trying to tell you now is, speaking of our villages, the smaller cities. You come from Wulang.
Hmm.
As we speak now, people in Wulang have peace. As we speak now, you come from Nasser, brother Dr. Taj. They have peace, right? We might have some government, former IG government in the hole in Nasser, but regardless, they do have peace. In fact, in Wulang, people are having dollars. You can find an old woman or a young girl walking with United States dollars in Wulang, right? I'm not saying that that's what we want, but I'm saying that's where we can start. Intelligent people like you here that are correcting the system, because this system needs checks and balance, and I understand that. But we need to come and trust ourselves, right? We need to come and trust ourselves that instead of going to war, right? Instead of going to war, let help the man that try with his all he can to help implement the peace in South Sudan. Because if what General Simon is right, why would he be killing the very oppositions that was fighting with him the other day?
That's not. Let me just come into this because I'm a profound uh, advocate for Kedwang's declaration. So now, uh, Dr. Riek Machar, with all due respect, it's not the first time he's going back to someone they disagree, and the favor turn out to be only him. I don't know much about South Sudan history, but I've read so much that, and I heard so much to be approved right. You know, so it is like normal. And when we look through the out history, uh, everything that he touched into this, he insisted does never it doesn't favor the people of South Sudan. No, not the people of South Sudan, but the people that are following him most often. Okay.
Give me an example.
For instance, when you go back in 2002 to convince his brother, Dr. John Grang, that we cannot be divided any longer, that we have to come together and fight for to negotiate, the CPA and all that piece. So the people that were following him were in the wrong spot. They were not favoring that agreement, and they have to find the way out. And this is the same way when Machar went to
But I
Khartoum.
think you are humbly wrong on that part. First, he did not go back. The two emerged. Second, the genesis reason of Nasser declaration was the uh, the injustices that were happening within the SPLA. It was about fighting for the entire Sudan. One of the reasons, and many of the reasons that bring, after 11 years of separation, bring the two SPLMs or the two opposition together and become one SPLM again, was because what Dr. Riek Machar was asking, the declaration of Nasser, was finally implemented. That was the case. How it happened, you might be right. There was some fault on it, how it happened, how it come together, but the idea actually did work. What brought them together was that we must have legitimate democracy within the fighting force of SPLA, and it happened. And that's why we got CPA. Go ahead.
Which I don't disagree with that. The fact that is when in most often when your idea only favor you, it is not a very good idea.
How did I
Because
favor him when we end up having South Sudan? South Sudan does not sit in self.
the grievance is that as the SPLM has a deep root of crisis that have to be addressed, and every time they come together, all these problems they never been addressed, and this is a crisis I
I
don't want
agree
to
with
touch.
that.
And this is why we will never have a better South Sudan simply because of that. Because when you come together and you mess up, and this is why we want to bring this to an end. That if this is the way of things have to be, we have to have the power to come to table.
How
And
do you
this is
bring
what
that
the
in?
Kedweng
How,
Declaration means.
how do you bring how do you bring this to an end?
For instance, reintegrations process of uh, of forces has never been favorable to
And
people
that's
that are
another wrong
understanding
word
that.
to use. We are not integrating anybody. Okay,
Well,
this is amalgamation process, and that's why it takes time. But we're coming to an end to our topic. Dr. Thatch, go ahead and wait.
well, I just wanted to. I think you guys debate this, and I think this could be a continuation for the next time. Uh, we all wanted to see South Sudan be different from the South Sudan which we see today.
For sure.
What one thing that I believe, as someone who believes in leadership, I think the fall of the South Sudan to not getting anywhere has 99% chances of the lack of leadership, and the lack of leadership that we have, which also include the leader on the top, to the rest of the people that are in
Of
leadership.
course, yes. Self-care
It's
level.
unless 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 something measurable happen that change that. I think the challenge we're discussing will not end anytime soon,
That's true.
because we have people who seem to be not knowing exactly what they're looking for. You have to have a vision as a leader, and you can have a vision when you have a nation that has been at war in your watch consistently for many, many, many years, whose half of its population are displaced from their home. And you have the resources of that nation. And
Hmm.
you are calling that we have a peace in South Sudan, in Wulang for real? How in the world could you have a peace in Wulang when most of the people in Wulang, live alone Nasser, are not actually living in Wulang right now? You know, I'm not saying that our people have left their home just because they wanted to leave their home. But I think what happened in the whole South Sudan, Ulang, Nasser, and the rest of the other areas, and Greater Upper Nile to the rest of the other area in South Sudan, was driven as a result of what happened in 2013 that had not yet come to an end, and the 2018 peace did not bring any single change to them. If we wanted to look bigger and wanted to continue to the dialogue on the way forward, I think we have to be honest to say, yes, we want peace.
Good.
But what we have in South Sudan now is not the peace that we want.
Yeah.
So if it is not the peace that we want, what can we all do together to bring the peace that we want?
We
That I
don't
think is
need.
a new discussion
That
that we
is a
all have
very
to
good
have.
point.
We-
What we need to do together is not to reinvent the wheel again in Kitgum. Okay?
Well,
That is what
Keep
we
going would be
need to do.
for the South Sudanese to
Okay?
bring the kind of peace that we
Now,
need.
brother,
That,
and
this is a great topic, and we need to continue next week. We will have very well,
diverse. Yeah.
more important topic. I mean, a more important guest that will add to your additions. But again, if we can civilly discuss our affairs of the country, we will go somewhere.
That's I agree with that. And this has been a great way of putting out our grievances. Today, I just talked to one of my friend. I just say this peace does not favor the victim of South Sudan civil war, and he just told me you are being emotional, and I'm like, What the hell is that? We cannot, for the sake of the reality, we cannot uh, move on without giving each other spaces to talk and have conversation like this. And I agree with you.
Good.
It's been a great time.
I want to say thank you to you, brother Elbow, brother Both. This is the same name. You have number of names, and but you become famous with Elbow. I don't know if the Elbow I know in English or Elbow in Nuer, but names. Dr. Thaj, it has been a pleasure to be with you as part of the experts in the programs all the times, and I will not agree with you when it's come to Kidgwang. I hope that you
Yeah,
will.
I think Miyong, before we close up, we need to come with a topic discussing the impact of Kedweng and what are their they're standing for. For me, I'm one of those who believe in Kedweng, and we need to give us an opportunity
It,
to come
it,
and explain ourselves.
it's your right. You guys have gang up on me, so next time my brothers too. So, but
Now we just want peace in South Sudan.
that's right, and that's
And
what
I
I'm
think
telling you.
the
I
kid going
agree
might be
that
an option.
if you have any grievances, it's okay
Yeah.
to discuss them civilly. But do
And
not turn guns against your brother or your sister. Okay? Because if Kid Guang really want to fight government, I mean, because we are part of the government now, it's called the Tanzania Government National Unity. If Kid Guang want to fight with whoever does not want to implement peace, they know who they want to fight to, but not the same comrade that they were just together the other day. But anyway, let's leave it as food for thought.
it will be next week discussion.
Will be next.
Elbow, you are welcome to next week.
All
Come.
right.
I will come next
Enjoy
week,
having you here.
and we are planning to bring other South Sudanese.
That's right.
Yes.
I mentioned to Miyong, yeah,
Yes.
one of
Oh,
the
that'll be good.
presidential
That'll be
candidates.
good.
Yeah.
We'll have a good discussion next week.
Definitely.
Thank you so much.
Anyway,
Good night.
I want to say thanks to our viewers, Dr. Thaj, Brother Elbow. It has been a pleasure having you here. And I need you next week. And I hope you will be changed men next week so that we will all follow the peace together.
Bye.
Thank you, sir.
Have a good night.
Thank you. Bye.
Right.
How do you arrange?
It's randomly.
Randomly? Okay.
Yeah, we have.
All right. Anybody can just.
You all are South Sudanese.
Right.
You say anything you want.
Okay.
Yes. Tell me your name first, and please explain.
My name is Peter Philip. I'm from Wow,
You're from Wow.
Western Bar Kazalia.
Okay.
Yeah.
What happened to your leg, by the way?
I just fall down during the rain time and I broke my leg here. It's
sorry.
almost a month now.
Almost a month.
Yeah.
Okay. Can you tell me when you were doing registration, what was going through your mind?
Actually, it's like a dream come true. Like I really doing something for my country, and that's the first things. Like it's a promise for myself and it's a promise for my kids that finally we have something to talk about. Yes.
Can you tell me if you have any concern in the process of registration?
So far, I think the process are very good and very clearly and easily. There is nothing difficult about the process of registering. They ask you about your passport or whatever identification that can identify you, and from there they take everything. So the process is very easy. There is nothing difficult about it at all.
Now, if you register today and in a just short time, in few less than 50 days, I think,
Yeah.
the people will come here again for actual
Yeah.
voting.
Yes.
Tell me, what is your vote going to be if you want to display that?
If I have to say it openly, I'd rather be free. That's my vote will go where it is. But as I said, I better be free than someone has to tell me what to do all the time. So to have my
How
own.
long have you been to the United States?
I've been in the United States for over 10 years now.
For 10 years.
Yes.
And can you tell me if you decide to vote for suppression next year,
Yeah.
why make you vote for suppression?
You know, I left Sudan in '89 and I went to India as a student there. I studied in India and we have suffered a lot in India because the government has stopped all the money that been sent to us in India. and then we have to register with the United Nations. See, all this process, it's really affected us very badly. We suffer a lot in India, and that's because of the policy of the government. We have some friends who went back home and never come back, and we don't know even where are they up to now. They just disappear when they went on their vacation to Sudan. So,
does that mean it happens to you as students who are Southerners in India?
Yes.
Or everyone?
Southerners in particular. We have one guy who was doing PhD, and he went to collect some material from Sudan, and he went and never come back again. And he was not even there in Sudan too. He reached Sudan, he reached his parents' home and everything, but on Sunday when he was going to the church, he never reached the church, and he never come back home up to this date. That's the policy that really affected us so badly when we were a student in India.
So these are the things that actually make you decide what you want to vote for during the referendum.
Yes.
And what can you tell someone in Southern Sudan now who is actually susceptible to being distracted, either by telling a lie that your registration or polling station is going to be attacked, or someone is being bribed? What can you tell someone that is in that situation?
I will really tell them that you better think twice before saying all this. You better think of what you are doing and of what your action will be, because we have gone through a lot, and I think enough is enough. So please stop distractions and go with your brothers and sisters. That I can tell them. Please think twice and think wisely.
Well, thank you very much.
Thank you.
It's my pleasure to talk to you.
Thank you.
Thank you. All right, just tell me your name first, and then I will ask you more questions.
Yeah, my name is John Garantiop. I'm from Jonglei State.
From Jonglei State.
Yeah, I live in Michigan, United States.
You came all the way from Michigan to register.
To come register here.
Okay. Yes. Can you tell me, when you were doing the registration, do you have any concern or anything that make you like something's wrong or everything went fine?
Yeah, actually, I am the one read the question yesterday, and then what the Pagan gonna go talk about it today. I read the question about the people that were born in South Sudan, in earlier after 1956, and then we have people from the northern and that are trying to come and register here. That say they were born in any part of South Sudan, and I said in the CPA it stated that it is only ethnically. From the ethnic that you will say I'm from this Bari, like me, I'm a Dinka, but that one saying Bari. So that's how it's going to be. And I read that question yesterday, and it is my concern up to now, because we got a lot of the people from the north who are trying to register with the fake document.
But you know the procedures. There are observers. There are people that actually can raise questions. If an American, a white American, come to the poll trying to register, no one can say no until he or she registers. Then after that, there's someone that says, I have a question on that person, and then they will put that name aside, so they will investigate it. Are you saying that if you see someone more look like Arabs, more look like Northern, you grab him out or you grab her out?
No, we don't grab him out. We registered him or her, and then we took the name in the objection team, and then it had to be taken to the consideration team. So that the procedure now we are following, because if we say that way, it will be rude to the audience or the people who come to register. But our concern, there was more of them coming in, and they've been allowing. So why we don't follow what is said by the CFA? It is somebody who was after, not somebody who was just born in South Sudan. I think that they misunderstood the press, maybe. Otherwise, that was my concern. And I'm thankful because I work in the center here, but we tell a lot of people coming in to come and register who are Southerners, and they are willing. We will see in January 1. So